Welcome to Nameless Debate Radio, where radioactivity is contagious. You can join us in broadening our minds on the Nameless Debates Discord via the link below, and even feature here yourself, if you've got what it takes.
No, dude, I don't think you know what it means, hey.
Okay, so it says here you're a capitalist and a minarchist. Can we discuss that?
I mean, if you really want, I guess.
Okay, so what are your bases for being a
Fuck
libertarian?
people, get money.
For being what, sorry?
No, sorry, for being a minarchist.
I think that, like, governments, although they're quite good, tend to infringe upon the freedoms of an individual, and insofar as that's the case, I'd like to minimize that infringement.
Wait, well, why are you not an ANCAP?
Because I don't believe in no government, I believe in minimal government. That's what minarchist means.
Yeah, but why?
Why? Because obviously having no governments wouldn't be very good for anybody.
That's not obvious.
Oh, it's obvious to me.
Okay, is it self-evident though?
No, I said it's obvious to me.
How's it obvious to you?
Okay, so basically it goes like this. If you have no governments, then what you have is everybody obeying one set of rules, which is that nobody obeys any of the rules of everybody else. But clearly that isn't the case because everybody's obeying that rule. That's government.
Okay.
But what if people aren't obeying?
But then they are. That's what I mean. Is based on the rule,
okay.
you can't not obey it.
How do you distinguish between conformity and obeying?
No, but there isn't a distinction. I'm saying based on the rule, if you disobey the rule, then you are, like, performatively obeying it.
That doesn't make any sense.
What? It does.
So you're saying...
Look, if you disobey with the principle, if you disagree with the principle that people should be able to do whatever they like, all right? You say that's not the case, all right? And you try to change things. Are you or are you not? Are you or are you not just doing what you like?
I am
not
doing what I like.
You are. Yes, you are.
No, not conforming doesn't mean I'm doing what I like.
Yeah,
not conforming doesn't mean I'm doing what I like.
I didn't say it did. I said the rule that we're talking about is to do with people doing whatever they like. That's what anarchy is.
That's not what anarchy is. That's not a definition.
Yes,
of
it
anarchy.
is. Anarchy is without rules of other people binding your actions.
No, no, that's not the definition of anarchy, man.
Anarchy, it literally translates to chaos, right? A state of disorder due to absence or listen. A state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems. How is that inconsistent with what I said?
Yeah, keep reading. Another definition.
Yeah, and then it says absence of government and absolute freedom of the individual.
There you go.
No. How was that inconsistent with what I said?
How was what inconsistent with what you said? Because
I said, listen. I said anarchism is people doing whatever they like. How is that not the case?
Anarchism is technically at any given state.
What if people like to conform? That's not
then
anarchism.
They're allowed to.
Then they can vote for the people who want them to conform.
No, you're saying people doing whatever they like is anarchism.
Yes.
But if they like to conform and have like a mutual,
then they can go off and make their own group and do that. But if they don't
the anarchist principle is that other people aren't going to stop them from doing that.
That's not what. Have you
Isn't that a socialist?
Have you literally
That is no. That's the opposite of socialism.
I'm saying if you decide you want to be compelled by the rules of others, you are welcome to go and get compelled, and I'm not going to stop you because I recognize that if I'm an anarchist, I don't think people should stop each other from doing anything.
So
anarchists still believe
government without enforcement.
Hold on.
Government without enforcement is anarchy.
No, people can go out and do their own thing. People can go out and do their own thing and conform. The problem is when they start going out and they get a government body to come with them and then hold a gun to your head and say, hey, we also heavily suggest you do this.
Exactly. Government without enforcement, is that anarchy?
In the descriptive sense.
Anarchy is the absence of government.
Yes, no, he's saying it's anarchy in the descriptive sense, as in it's chaotic.
I'm more for minarchism.
This is so crazy.
I'm more for
I've never
minarchism.
heard of ANCAP theory.
Dude, listen, okay? Anarchy. I just read you the definition. Where is my mistake?
That wasn't the definition I was using.
Yeah, it was. I read the second definition as well. That was the one you wanted me to read.
Yeah, but there's another one which is like absence of unjustified hierarchy, which I consider to be a state.
Yeah, where are you getting that one from, dude? Because like that seems like a relatively dude. It's idiosyncratic because it's not listed in any of the 3 major dictionaries I've looked in.
Okay, well let's take a look.
Yeah, anarchism literally translates to without authority.
I thought you were a minarchist. Anyways.
I am, yes.
Yeah, I'm for minimal taxes, minimal rent.
Yeah. It just seemed like someone was objecting to my minarchism.
Okay, well, fine. Well, okay, no, fine. So, okay, so I guess instead of asking why aren't you an anarchism by the Wikipedia definition, I should have asked you why aren't you an ANCAP?
By the Wikipedia definition?
No, not the Wikipedia. Whatever he looked at Merriam-Webster, Google, or whatever.
I looked up the definition of anarchist or anarchy.
Fine. What? I think I asked you. Yeah. Did I ask you if you're? Are you an ANCAP, or did I ask you are you an anarchist?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the first half of ANCAP is anarchist, right?
Right, but it's clearly not.
So wait. You asked if why I wasn't an anarchist capitalist. I am a capitalist.
Libertarian.
I'm not an anarchist.
Hold on.
That's why.
NSYNC. Did you know that libertarian is actually a term used by the socialists? Like I believe that.
I don't really care.
It's also. I don't
care.
Yes, and liberalism used to be a term used for right wingers.
Yeah, who the fuck cares? That's so.
Yeah, right. So why the fuck
political demographics change over time? I can go out and scream that I want big government and call myself a Republican. It doesn't mean I'm a Republican.
He's right, though. So, that's correct.
There is left-leaning libertarians.
How was it a sequitur that it was used that way in the past?
There's anarcho-socialism. There's anarcho-socialism, which is left-wing libertarianism.
Okay, my point was that what I was asking him is whether he's an ANCAP in the sense of like a Rothbardian or something.
In the sense, I don't know who Rothbard is, so no.
Okay. Alright, that's fine.
I don't completely understand social.
Did you have a... Sorry, go.
I don't completely understand social anarchy, or anarcho-socialist.
Yeah. So did someone have a problem with my minarchist role? Is that...
Yeah, because it's stupid and it's inconsistent.
It's not stupid. I'm saying
it's
anarchy...
fucking stupid.
Anarchy...
Then explain yourself, retard.
Anarchy is not functionally stable over time, right? That's why.
Can you back any of that up?
Yes. If you have anarchy, then there are people are going to establish rules. They're going to collect themselves in communities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that's not anarchy anymore. It's not stable.
That's not what I. That's not.
No, but that is not anarchy. If people collect themselves into communities and establish rules, it doesn't count as anarchy.
No, yeah, because then some body is holding a gun to your head and saying, "Follow these rules."
That's not true. NSYNC.
That is true.
But you just accepted government without enforcement is anarchy. You accepted
I said in
the
descriptive sense. Do you know what the difference is between a descriptive and analytic sense?
So if you want to be serious and actually conductive
just quickly, I just have to deal with what Terrence said, okay? So in the analytic sense, all right, it doesn't count as anarchism, no. In the descriptive sense of it being chaotic, yes. Do you understand the difference?
How do you know a government without enforcement will be chaotic?
Because that's what it seems like it would be. It's like a logical conclusion.
Your logic
Terrence,
is fallible.
Okay? Why are you derailing the conversation?
Okay, I'm sorry.
A very angry one.
Continue, Krams.
My point is that I don't believe that there would not be rules and even enforced rules and I don't believe that that's incompatible with an anarchist system.
There being rules. So I just read you anarchist, right? Like you asked me to look it up. I did. Okay. So no, I'm reading it to you again. I'm reading it to you again.
No.
I'm reading it to you again.
It's okay.
Absence or non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems, and then the second one says absence of government. So what's government?
Okay, so government to me is a monopoly, right, on the use of force.
No. Look up the term government, mate.
Man, are we using... Okay, let's...
Government, as in being governed by things.
If you really want to go there, then I'm going to say that's a vague fucking definition.
No, that is a philosophical definition. Government refers to rules. There are rules.
Okay.
Okay,
fine.
Means.
It's a very self-explanatory word.
Like literally, government, as in something governs.
Something governs. What does that mean?
Do you know what the word govern. I don't understand.
No, do you understand how vague that...
Okay. Dude, look up the word. It's not vague.
It's not vague. It's broad. It's a broad definition.
I need to be given some time to explain at least like my point.
I think what you need to do before you try to explain.
So government can mean a lot of different. It can mean a lot of different things.
Look it up in a dictionary. Right? It means only one thing.
Right. Yeah, but governance, the way you pose it, can mean a lot of different things. It can mean
it doesn't. It means one thing which has inside it a lot of subcategories.
Right. Your government body can be right wing or left wing, but it's still governing.
Yes, it is by definition government.
Governing in any sense is still a government.
I don't see how this is productive, by the way. Why are we arguing semantics when
because you clearly don't understand the importance of it.
No. We can just
because that's the whole point of this.
For the context of this debate, and we can just move on.
No, but we can't because you don't know what government is.
Wait, so are you actually an ANCAP or are you just playing fucking semantic games with me?
I'm not an ANCAP. I said that.
He's a MinCap. But
apparently you don't know what ANCAP is because ANCAP is not what you seem to think it is.
You are so fucking cringy, dude. Look up the word government for me, please. Please, just do me a favor.
Wait. How about this? What's your definition of an ANCAP, Cram? How about that?
An ANCAP is someone who believes that a capitalist society can be formed in the absence of a monopoly, the use of force in a given region.
Okay, yeah. And you disagree that can happen?
No, I agree that can happen.
Okay, so do you agree? Do you disagree or agree with that in Sing?
Sorry, could I get him to repeat it?
So that a capitalist society can form, right? In fact,
in the absence of any controlling body. No. You said the absence of a monopoly. Of course, I believe that's true.
Oh no.
What do you mean by monopoly?
Wait. Shh.
What do you mean by monopoly? I need to be clear.
Fucking hell, dude! You're
I heard you. I thought back. I remember what you said.
Damn. Let me finish my sentence.
Dude, I asked you to repeat yourself.
The absence of a monopoly
then I realized
and the use of retaliatory force in a given area.
What is a monopoly?
Monopoly in this case would be a legal monopoly. So it would be
No. What is a monopoly in general? Jesus Christ.
What's a monopoly in general?
Yes, I'm asking you what the words mean. I don't understand how you can't follow this.
Okay, a monopoly is the only operator in a given market. No,
incorrect.
Okay, what does it mean?
Significant.
Yes, Terrence has it. Yes.
Okay, well, no. Okay, fine, but I mean it to mean the only.
Yeah, but that's a personal, subjective definition. Do you understand?
No. That's okay. That's okay. Since you're talking to me, we're gonna.
You're talking. No, you are talking to other people.
Since you're talking to me, right? No, you can accept my definitions, or you can at least understand. You can at least understand what I mean.
You as an individual, you are talking to other people. Yes or no?
I plead the fifth.
Obviously, the answer is yes. So it's actually your job to figure out how to articulate yourself.
Wait a minute. Is it actually my job? Because I don't think I'm being paid to do it.
I don't give a shit. You're not worth my time if you can't even use the words you're trying to use properly.
Wait, what do you mean I can't? You mean I won't or I can't?
Like, my time.
Hold on. What do you mean I'm not worth your time? By what metric am I not worth your time?
I just told you. You're not even using words properly. It's a fucking preschooler problem.
Wait, okay, which specific words am I not using?
Government, anarchy, monopoly.
Can you explain in each of those cases how I was not using the word properly?
I think we.
And why you believe and can you justify your standard of proper, right? Yes. In the context of this conversation.
Yes. Yep. I use a dictionary. I use dictionaries. That's how.
Okay, fine.
So because I understand that I'm talking to other people and that other people do not necessarily share my subjective conceptions of the world, what I do is I look in the book that tells me what everybody else's agreed words mean, and I use those ones because I'm not a fucking idiot.
Why is that? Why you use those ones? Like literally because you're not a fucking idiot?
No,
like,
it's because I'm trying not to be an idiot. I'm trying to come across as someone who effectively communicates.
Okay. You're not doing a very good job.
I don't know, man. I think you're the only one who's not following.
You're extremely difficult. Like,
yes,
like you could just literally grab.
Dude, he's Australian. Cut him some slack.
Oh shit.
No, look, I'll admit I'm disagreeable, but the point is you're making these mistakes. You think they don't matter, and I'm telling you they do.
Well, you're just saying that, right? You're not making any.
No, I'm saying your use of words is contradicting the dictionary use of them. Everybody else in the chat refers to dictionaries when they aren't getting a word correct. The fact that you don't think that's important is ridiculous.
No, I think I'm using like if we're taking.
I know you think you're using them right. I said check the dictionary.
Fuck's sake, mate. Okay, let's check out the definition of the word monopoly.
Yeah, let's.
All right.
Thank you for finally Googling something.
Oh fuck.
Dude, shut the fuck up.
Okay, mute time.
Shut the fuck up.
Who the fuck is?
Wow, you just lost all credibility.
Yo, everybody mute Achilles.
What the hell? I didn't do anything.
Okay.
No,
so NSYNC.
It was cramped.
You understand what the word
Was that
exclusive?
you?
Yeah,
I do know what exclusive
That was
means,
extremely annoying.
Okay, so what does exclusive mean? Can you just repeat for the audience?
Exclusives means only.
Would you like me to look it up for you? In fact, let me just look it up for you. Like you don't even. Need
Exclusive means only.
No. We're not going. No.
Okay, like literally translate.
Excluding or not admitting other things, right?
Excluding other things.
Excluding or not admitting other things, right? So
Yes.
when a monopoly, okay, so by other things, what we mean, like what would we mean? Like what? Like a single.
We mean like alternatives or competitors.
Okay, right. So when there's no alternatives or competitors, that would be called a monopoly, right?
Yes, of course. Yes.
So do you understand why?
No, stop.
So do you understand why?
That isn't what monopoly means, though, right?
No, I'm sorry, NSYNC.
Okay, well, look, if you're gonna do stop. Okay, that isn't what monopoly means. That's a type of monopoly, mate.
Literally, the definition. Okay, I literally pull it up. The definition now: the exclusive possession or control of the supply or of trade in the commodity or service.
No, but do you understand that you can have
80?
Stop. Do you understand that you can have 80% of a market and that counts as a monopoly even though there are alternatives?
Yeah, if you're using words incorrectly.
No! Wait, anybody else in this chat thinks that's an incorrect use of the word monopoly?
Wait, are we appealing to majority?
Big oof. That's how we define words, is by the majority use. I'm not sure.
I thought it was by the dictionary.
That's what a dictionary is. It's the codification of majority use.
Okay, so the majority of the views in this room is whatever the dictionary says, or is it the other way around?
You are claiming that that's an incorrect use of the word. I'm saying that is a correct use of the word. Your understanding of it is invalid. A monopoly. Listen.
To a source, right? Which says
fucking hell. In that sense, what monopoly refers to is simple. Okay, it refers to the fact that one company is in control, even if they're not the only company in the market.
No.
They are the only company that holds power.
That's literally incorrect.
It's not.
Exists when a specific person or enterprise is the only supplier of a particular commodity.
No, that's not what you just read out.
This contrast with the monopoly.
That's not what you just read out to me.
This contrast with the monopoly. No. This is a wiki explanation.
Oh,
right?
so you're changing your definition. Is that right?
So
wait, let's look. The exclusive possession or control. So if you have 80% of the market, you exclusively have control. Yes, that's true.
Where's this exclusive possession or control? No, you don't exclusively have control. You have
yes, you do. No, a majority in a market is the control of the market. That's how we think about it.
That's not true.
That is how economists think about it.
I don't. Which economists then? Cite me a
All
fucking
of
paper.
them. When you have an economic monopoly, like for instance in my country, 2 of our major supermarkets have a monopoly.
Anyway, I don't believe
on
that
the groceries.
that monopolies.
Are you listening?
No,
a monopoly doesn't mean there aren't any competitors. It means that there aren't any real competitors.
Define what is real.
Hold on. That's
as in
that's
holding actual influence.
That's a tautology. Whenever you speak of anything existing, we assume that it's real, right?
Oh God.
No.
You really think
do you
you're
want to
more...
start like granting?
Stop. Do you really think you're more well educated on ontology and epistemology than me?
Do you want to start granting some...
embarrassed earlier on. You really want to take that test?
NSYNC. Do you want to start granting some commonly used definitions? Colloquially used definitions? I think you are
misunderstanding them. How is it, if they're commonly and colloquially used, how is it that nobody else in the chat but you objected to my use? How is that the case?
Because they didn't object, so what?
Because it means they didn't object. I can't believe this. That means that they didn't have a problem with it, but you did. You're claiming your problem.
Okay, no, I mean...
You're claiming your problem is a common one.
Actually, I retract my earlier statement. Achilles just disagreed, I believe.
Oh, so because Achilles disagreed, you're going to retract it?
You said not a single... Fuck's sake! Can we just talk about it normally using colloquial definitions instead of relying on extremely obscure, fucking obscure?
Hold on, I just want to clarify. I did not disagree. My mic was.
You're being extremely obstructionist.
So wait, Krams. Nobody disagreed, correct? Nobody except you disagreed with my use. Is that correct?
Okay. If he didn't disagree, then he should read the definition that he put, or the.
Dude, you are not understanding what you're reading. Isn't that possible?
Hey, if you
it's
go
possible,
to the
but I don't want to make this a lengthy conversation.
I know, but you're making it lengthier all the time when you refuse to admit your own inadequacies.
If you go to the Oxford definition of the word,
for the sake of the conversation. Right, the colloquial use of the word monopoly, which means a single supplier of a given good, right?
Oh, dude, seriously? If you have a monopoly on a market,
okay, I'm not interested in continuing this
conversation.
Does it
actually mean that you're the single supplier, or does it mean that you are the single supplier in terms of significance?
In this context, we can say that it means you have the single supplier because we're using it. We're not examining.
Shut up!
I don't give a fuck what economists say.
In my country, 2 companies have a monopoly on the groceries. Right?
That's a duopoly.
It is no, but they share the monopoly. Yes, it's a duopoly, but the point is the reason that we say that Woolworths and Coles have a monopoly in this country.
Yeah, but we can use different definitions of words based on the context of the conversation.
Shut the fuck up until I'm done.
It's inappropriate.
Dude, stop over talking me, or you're gonna get muted. Fucking hell! All right, a monopoly is where one party controls all of the input-output, okay? If you have 80% of a market, then even though you don't have the other 20%, based on your majority, you still control it.
Are you done?
Yeah, I am done, correct.
Okay, cool. So, like I was saying, I believe that capitalism could be established in an area where there is no monopoly on the use of force.
Yeah, I don't really think that you know what you're saying.
That's fine. I'm just saying.
I mean, you guys can talk about it in voice right now. I see what you guys going on in text.
Monopoly.
Yeah, let's hear it, Jordy. Come on. This is not basic economics, mate. It's basic semantics. Monopolistic means denoting. Stop. Monopolistic means denoting monopoly. It has to.
Okay.
Do you understand what? Do you understand why definitions?
Wait, Krams. Wait, Krams. Wait. Let Jordy go.
So you're talking about market structures. A monopoly is one.
No, I'm talking about words.
Okay.
It's not about the fucking words, right?
I give up. See you later.
It is about the words.
Are you gonna let me talk, or are you gonna keep talking over me?
I mean, you said it's not about the words, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to explain to you, right? So if you're talking about the word monopoly, right? Because you're getting on him about his incorrect use of the word. I mean, you're using it incorrectly too. Technically, when you're saying that two people have a monopoly, that doesn't.
Yes, you're correct. Yes, that is an incorrect use. I agree.
All right, so that's all I'm pointing out.
No, but that's irrelevant. That doesn't demonstrate his point. Okay, what I was trying to say
I'm not giving a fuck about anyone's point. I'm just pointing out that you're being incorrect as well when you're pointing out he's incorrect.
What do you mean? Two people
Instinct can be incorrect, but he's not insecure.
I said, like, if we consider the two companies as one for the purposes of the analysis, then the conglomeration has a monopoly.
Well, it's a company or group, so the companies could come together in a group.
So if you're talking about
exactly,
concert, right? Something like that, then sure, right?
That is what I said. That's exactly what I said, though.
Oh, I popped in when I heard you say that monopoly. Like your example was a monopoly. That's what I had to.
No, I said my example is referred to in my country as a monopoly. That's what economists call it.
Your example, economists don't call it a monopoly though.
They do in my country. I'm telling you, when I'm watching the news, economists call it a monopoly.
Okay. But you understand there's a difference between the discourse on the news, right? The diction used and the diction in academic sense.
No, they're linked. They're both consistent with one another.
No, not necessarily. So
yes, necessarily. That's what words mean.
There's on the news, people aren't gonna try to understand academic specific.
Maybe you're not understanding what I said. I didn't say every nuance. I didn't say every nuance of the use is consistent. I said the basic idea is consistent among the uses.
Listen. All I'm saying is, if you're getting on him about using the proper definition of monopoly,
yes,
right? And I'm only being fair to the fact that you're also being incorrect as well. Now, if you want to say that,
no, but I admitted that technically the way that I elucidated my example was invalid, but as someone else chimed in and said, if the two companies work together or form a group, it still counts.
Well, wait. Let's see, there's a little bit of. Are you talking about in a economic sense, right? If you have two companies working in concert together, sure, that's a monopoly, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's the end of it.
But that's different from the fact of two companies having big market shares. Right, those are two different.
Dude, stop.
So you're saying that a company owning 80% isn't a monopoly?
I'm saying a company owning 80% isn't a monopoly. They have a big market share.
Yes, it is. No, that is a monopoly.
But they do control it at that point.
It is technically a monopoly.
So the East India Tea Company was not a monopoly because there was still trades happening around India, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Listen. I take economics as my major. I'm telling you right now how it is. Okay,
but wait. I'm confused about what you're telling me. Are you or are you not saying? Wait, just let me ask my question so I can clarify what you're saying.
Explain you what I'm saying to you. All right.
No, don't explain it yet. I haven't even got the first bit.
You can have a company that owns a large part of the market, right? But they're not technically.
No, not a large part. I didn't get that bit. If you let me explain what I didn't understand, maybe your second go would be useful. All right? What I was trying to understand is, are you saying that a majority control of the market does not equal monopoly?
No, it's not a monopoly.
How so?
Because a monopoly is defined as one producer in the market.
No, a monopoly is defined as... No, we just went through it. I'll read it out to you again. The exclusive possession or control. Having a majority control fits into possession or control.
This is not an economic definition, bro.
That's the
Oxford
definition.
Dude,
that is the word for word Oxford definition.
Are you saying that Oxford Dictionary?
Yes.
Exact
I mean, Webster
of academic.
No, Webster. I cross-referenced it while you guys were arguing. It's Oxford, right? Webster, and I mean, if there's any other, are there any economic dictionaries?
To be clear, Geordie, when a word has a general definition in a dictionary and then it's used in a specific context, the specific contextual use is subordinate to the dictionary definition.
No, if you're being specific.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
That's where the word comes from. If it wasn't, you would make up some sounds. You wouldn't use another word.
It doesn't matter how loud you yell, my guy. Like, it's not, you're not anymore right. All right, so
okay, so wait, I just have a question for you. All right?
You're not really right.
Why didn't you just string some sounds together?
Dude,
hold on, Jordan. Give Jordan a chance.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. All right, so basically, if you want to talk about, if you're speaking specifically in economics, right? A monopoly is a single seller in a market. Okay, it's the price maker. Okay, and it's defined. It's defined as having no other competitors able to enter the market. All right. Now, if you want to talk about some type of colloquially, regular definition of monopoly as a company that controls the majority of the market share, sure, right? But when we're talking about monopoly, right? We're talking about a industry, right? That is controlled by one producer. That is just economically how it is. Yeah. So
are you done? We finished then?
Well, I'm just educating you.
So I have a question for you. All right. So we have an economic monopoly, and then in the same market, I open up a tiny family-run business. Is it a monopoly anymore?
It's not, dude. It's not a pure monopoly.
No, listen. So it's not a monopoly. Oh, so it's not a monopoly.
So under your definition, it's almost impossible for a monopoly to exist.
Yeah, that is what he's saying.
No. Listen, I'm not denying, right, that a company can have power or extreme.
No, but I don't think you understand. I asked you a specific question, dude.
Dude, you got to stop talking sometimes and just listen.
You have to answer my question.
So here's the thing. You can say that a business, right? I can say that, for example, Amazon, right, has characteristics of a monopoly, sure, right? But when you're talking about specifically a monopoly, right, is defined by these certain things.
Okay, man.
So don't get on him about incorrect.
No, I asked you a question about how you defined it, right?
Do you actually have a source for your definition?
Yeah, the question is it possible to achieve a monopoly realistically?
Realistically, I mean, the government is a monopoly, isn't it?
No, I asked you a question. Yeah.
No. A government is a monopoly by definition on the use.
No, it isn't. It isn't though. If I have a family unit where I dictate the answer to certain problems that isn't governmental, then the government is not a monopoly.
Dude, it doesn't matter as a family how you regulate your home. The fundamental thing is that no, it doesn't. In context of
that's what government is.
All right, dude. Like, are you gonna let me talk?
That's what government is.
No, okay. We're talking about in the context of the government now. Do you think you have a monopoly on force?
What? Excuse me, did you just say we're talking about the context of government now? No, we're talking about government as a term.
What do you mean government as a term?
Well, exactly what I said. Look it up in the dictionary. What does it mean? Tell me.
Wait. You can, so if you're saying that you have a hypothetical and your family is somehow like, do you establish your family as a government or some shit? Then yeah.
I'm saying, what?
But I'm talking about...
wait a minute. No, I don't establish my family as a government. Look up the word, mate. You seem confused. Government.
I'm not confused at all.
Yeah, you are. Government is being governed. If your dad tells you what to do, he is governing your actions.
Dude, this is so stupid.
By definition, he is. I'm telling you.
Okay. Yeah. See, here's the problem. Like, you have to be specific, right? On type of.
I am being specific. You don't know what the word means.
I obviously do know what the word government means.
Clearly, you don't, because you just said something contradictory.
Okay. I didn't say anything contradictory, right?
You did. You said that the family doesn't count as government.
When did I say that?
When I said if you have a family that like dictates the certain problems, certain answers to certain problems, then does the government have a monopoly? You said yes, the government has a monopoly because the family doesn't count.
If I live in the United States, okay, I do not have a monopoly on authority, right? Because the United States is a monopoly.
You don't know what you're talking about.
How do I not know what I'm talking about? This is like blatantly obvious.
I just told you.
But I mean,
this is blatantly obvious.
I mean, you can think that.
Well, I mean, if you can't comprehend it on a cognitive level.
Dude, okay, let me put it to you like this, okay? You were referencing your qualifications in economics, right? Because that's what you study. Guess what I study? I study philosophy. I study what I study philosophy too, actually. Shut up for a second, okay? I study what a valid argument is. I study what words mean, and I'm telling you, you are not using them correctly.
No. See, here's the thing. I actually study both subjects, right?
I don't believe you. You're not making very sound arguments.
What about my arguments aren't sound?
I just demonstrated to you when you said, for instance, that a government does have a monopoly despite the fact that a family unit has governance. You were wrong. That's a contradiction.
No. See, and it's the problem is that you just don't understand what government is, right? So just because someone governs your actions
okay.
doesn't
Fair
actually
enough,
mean that you're a government.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just don't get
political
it.
sense. Dude, can you let me talk?
You're right,
or are you gonna get ad hom? You said you study philosophy, and all you do is ad hom.
What?
So
I didn't ad hom you.
So
Jordy.
Listen, dude, shut the fuck
If
up.
you want me to let you talk,
much, right? So
if you want me to let you talk, you can't start talking until I'm finished. Do you agree?
No. I definitely let you finish, and you.
No, you didn't.
Okay,
hold on. So what's gonna happen is every time someone's done talking, I'm gonna server mute them until the other person's done. All right. So Jordy first.
Right. So a government, when you're talking about in the political philosophy sense, right, is that a collective body, right, when a monopoly on a certain a force in a certain area, right? You can give the United States, for example, as a government, right? Okay. Now, if you say, if I live in the United States, which is a government, right, and that somehow that you have a monopoly of authority on your family in like the bounds of the United States, like that's just wrong. And like and if it's not even self-evidently wrong, then like if you need me to explain that, I can, right? Now, if you're saying in some hypothetical, if you established a collective in somewhere that wasn't established already, right? You develop your own social contract in this area, and you want to call it government, sure, right? But you have to be clear because you're just conflating a lot of things, right? So you need to explain properly what you're trying to say.
Okay, and then we go. Go ahead.
Yep. So you gave a very idiosyncratic definition of government. That's your opinion of what government means. I told you to look it up in the dictionary. If you had looked it up in the dictionary, you would see that your definition isn't valid generally. That's all I have to say.
Okay, and then we go.
And so if you study philosophy, then you would understand how specific certain philosophical terms are in comparison to regular use of these words, which is why I'm actually thinking that you're probably being dishonest in this conversation. Because if you were being honest, right, then you would understand that there's difference between how a word's used in regular life, right, and how words, or even how words are defined, right, regular, and how the academic term is used. We can even look at certain words like the word objective, right? Usually it means it's something that's without bias, but in the philosophical sense, when you're talking about like ontology, right, you're talking about where it's mind independent or mind dependent. So referring to Oxford as like, and you trying to do some like weird sophistry way argument that you're like that I'm like convoluting my statements. I'm not, right? I'm being specific to the philosophical definitions here.
Yo, Insync just got owned, bruh.
All right, so like let's just quickly take a look at that, right? So you said you used an example. The example that you used was objective. So what I'm saying is that all specific instantiations of words are consistent with the general definition, right? So objective in the general sense means relating to or denoting an object, not a subject. That's what it means, all right? So then let's consider the different uses that you mentioned. You mentioned one of the uses is like without biases, right? And then the other use is whether or not it's mind dependent or mind independent. Now let's consider those two uses, all right? If you manage to be objective in the sense of not having biases, isn't that a way to approximate a mind-independent proposition? Isn't that the point? Isn't that why we call it objective? Insofar as your reasoning is objective, what you mean is that it isn't characterized by the biases of subjectivity, and therefore that it approximates the object. That is what you mean. That is, I'm telling you, right? So the objective definition in philosophy refers to the object independent of the mind. The objective definition in science refers to the object of study independent of the biases of the mind. And objective in the like general definition sense means referring to or denoting the object, right? So when you say, for instance, that political philosophy is the same as studying philosophy, because I assume that's what you mean. You mean you study political philosophy. You do not study philosophy, okay? You clearly do not understand how valid argumentation works, because well, repeatedly you said just to refer to the text where you said, when did I say that? You said you're referring to the political philosophical definition of government. But I'm telling you that the political philosophical definition of government is not consistent with the philosophical definition of government, and that when we're talking about philosophy, we mean the latter, not the former. And to suppose that the former is what everybody should use because it's what you use is egocentric as fuck.
Okay, so there's a couple things wrong that were just blatantly wrong. So number one, no, the biased definition of objective isn't an approximation of mind independent or dependent. Because number one, when you're saying that something is mind independent, you're talking about how it exists, the ontology of it, right? So is morality, does morality exist if you removed all subjects, right? This is not the same thing or approximation as saying, well, am I saying something without some bias towards it, or I'm putting my feelings in the reasoning? You're just, again, that's just blatant sophistry and shows your lack of comprehension of basic philosophy.
Damn.
Number two, to the point that I said that I study political philosophy, not philosophy. Well, that I never said that. You just kind of pulled that straight out of your ass. And if you want to show me, right, you can just pull up in chat. Give me the philosophical definition from the IEP, maybe, or from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, and then give me the political philosophical definition from either one of those two sources, and tell me that they're different. So unless you can demonstrate that, then you can really just shut the fuck up.
What was that Stanford Encyclopedia of what?
And Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh no, I mean he asked me to look up the term in the Stanford Encyclopedia, so that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. God was have him unmuted till then.
And also the contention I said earlier, how it was just sophistry, how you tried to conflate those two definitions when they're not even.
Yeah, I don't. What's sophistry in your opinion?
Oh, this is just. It's really just making an argument, right? That sounds nice, but really is fallacious inherently.
That's not what sophistry is.
So what I'm not going to do is get into this autistic definition battle with you. If you want to look up sophistry online, you can look that up.
I mean, that isn't what sophistry means. That's not how it was used by the Greeks.
Number two. Again, the fundamental issue here, right, is that objective in an ontological sense is clear and irrelevant to the objective views in colloquial sense, and you have not demonstrated any argument but sophistry to kind of.
I mean, I don't know if that's true though, right? Because you.
No, it is. It's very true because you haven't done it.
Stop talking over me, dude. You couldn't even tell me what sophistry meant.
I don't want to hear any meta. I want you to.
You couldn't tell me what sophistry meant.
Hold on. Before we go into before we just get what's up?
Yeah. I was saying what you wikied was actually another. It was a different definition of sophist. I'll show you the.
No, that is the correct definition. Sophistry is a term that originated in Greek philosophy.
I was just doing that for myself. That's all I was doing. But
okay. Yeah, but let's be clear though. Sophistry.
He wanted you to look up on those specific sites. Just go grab those sites real quick. And just
so you can go grab those instead of.
So we can all see for ourselves. Just
look. I can't find Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy definition of government in general because I'm guessing that government.
So then, why would you attack my argument saying that I don't know philosophy?
I wasn't done talking.
I don't know definitions. Like you're so fucking
Jesus.
Stupid. You were talking out of your ass.
Listen to this guy. I wasn't done talking.
You're just talking out of your ass.
Right? Oh my god!
Oh, by the way,
don't do ad homs.
Sophistry: the use of fallacious arguments, especially with the intent of deceiving. That is the definition of sophistry.
No, it's
exactly
not.
What you were doing, dude. What are you talking about? It's like literally on Google. You want to type it in? Type it in Google. It's a Merriam-Webster.
What did sophist mean when the Greeks used it? Oh my
god! Now, dude, this is a red herring. Okay.
No, it's not. That's where the term came from.
What a fucking red herring.
Okay.
What does a sophist mean?
Did you pull up the definitions?
Oh, yes, I looked up what sophistry means today. I agree that sophistry today refers to using clever but fallacious arguments.
Okay,
what I'm saying is,
so then
shut up for a second, you dickhead.
Hold on. We gotta go. Hold on.
Fucking idiot. The fuck?
Seriously, man.
You're fucking retarded, dude.
Right.
If you don't stop over talking me,
I just made you look stupid. So can we go?
Yeah, look.
No. You can't. You're not allowed to do that. I am only.
You need to be doing it, man.
Hey, Jordy. Let's go with this. Okay. So if government has monopoly, if anything exists that is against a government body, would the government then not have a monopoly?
Sorry, repeat the question.
Damn.
Well, okay, so let's use ANCAPs as an example, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if ANCAPs got together and said, we're not going to obey the government, we're not going to go by the government's regulations, we're going to stop everything the government's trying to do to us, even if they existed in maybe 1.11% of the power or whatever that the world government had, you know, in a parallel to them or whatever, that still wouldn't be a monopoly by the by the strict definition, you know.
By you talking about so so when we're talking about monopoly, right? I'm just talking purely about like market structure and things like that. If you're talking about the government, so like let's take the money supply for example, right? Like the Fed, like I can say that the Fed has a monopoly on the money supply because no other body regulates or has any contention in that.
Why? Because they take all your they take taxes or something.
No, that's true. The Fed really just it'll add in money supply through like they'll mess with the interest rates or certain other various measures. But the idea is basically like they are the only ones that can regulate the money supply. So that's like
what if someone rejects that? Well, what if the ANCAPs were to reject that and say, well, we're not going to do that anymore. We'll trade physical objects that the government can't control. Because I mean, you could say the Federal Trade Commission has a monopoly on money because they control. Not the Federal Trade Commission, not the whatever the Treasury,
the Federal Reserve,
yeah, because they print out all the money. But then a resistance to that could come up, you know, an anarcho-capitalist, which could say, you know what, no, we're going to use goats. We're going to start trading goats for everything. They may only exist in a very small percentage, but it's still not a monopoly by definition, you know, because they don't have 100% complete control.
Well, So you can look at it in terms of like, are these recognized institutions? I don't like when I try to be very clear with what I'm saying, right? So I'm talking in terms of like recognizable entities in the market, right? I mean, technically, if you want to say like in a general sense, what if this what if I just claim suddenly to have this type of power? Like, I mean, I don't think that's really how the categorization works. I mean, I guess if you want to move to that like general thing,
did the East India Tea Company have a monopoly on the tea trade in India? How about that?
I actually not. I think I'm not really sure much about that. I assume yes, but I'm not. I don't know.
Well, they controlled a lot of it, but there still was like 3 or 4 other private tea companies that did trade out of India. They didn't make any money, barely, but they were still businesses. And then if you want to go by recognized institutions, what's your definition of them being recognized? If they're recognized by the government, then the government's the place that has the monopoly. So you can't really define the government as the thing recognizing them because the government is the thing they're against.
Yeah. So in terms of the East Indian Tea Party,
tea company.
Tea company.
Yeah, they enslaved all of India to make fucking tea.
Yeah. So you could say right. So you can say something like they were effectively a monopoly at that point because you said they weren't making any money, right? The other producers were.
Yeah, but okay, so then you would agree that having majority of control of something is a monopoly?
No, because even majority, right? So like we can talk about, we can just give, for example, operating systems, right? Like Microsoft, for example, right? Like Microsoft, I think now still has the biggest share of the operating systems industry, right? But I wouldn't say that they're necessarily a monopoly, like a pure monopoly, right? And again,
okay, so then I can go from the definitions of, I guess we should have separate definitions of like a pure monopoly and then, you know, a assumed monopoly or a Oxford is Oxford had a good.
Sure. So I'll say this, right? So why I'm just coming this from the economics point of view, right? The pure monopoly is defined as just one producer in the market. If you would like to use like a company that has like a very vast majority of the market share, which it is how it's used on like the news and stuff, which I wasn't disputing, right? The only thing I disputed was he was getting on his ass about him being incorrect in his use of the word monopoly. And I just feel like that was unfair when he wasn't technically being correct either. You know, I'm just being fair to the conversation. So a pure monopoly, right, is different from just, I guess, the way it's used in every day.
And it does get hard to define a monopoly because, I mean, then you could say if someone had 75%, it's kind of a monopoly, and then you get to 80%, and then 85, and then 90.
Sure. But you wouldn't say something like that something that has like 65% is like what you would call close to a pure monopoly, right? Like you would say
you could say it was a slight market control, or maybe a very like a minor monopoly. You could get monopoly's kind of on a spectrum, I guess, you know.
Yeah, well, that would be actually a monopolistic competition market, which would be in essence like a few like really like heavy companies, right? Heavy producers in the market, and they're just competing against each other. Like an example would be something like just take the operating system market, right? Something like that. So there's in economics, there's like different terms for these things. That's all like so
I'm actually thinking of taking some economics out of my community college just for stocks and stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Did they teach you stock market info or anything?
They probably teach that more in finance. My economics classes haven't really gone over that. I mean, but then again, I'm taking a finance class next semester, so that should be part of it. And see, like, this is the type of shit. Okay, monopolistic competition. Like, I'll just look up the definition. I'll read it from Google. If you think I'm lying, like, and someone else can, right? So we'll just read definition. All right. Monopolistic competition is a type of imperfect competition, such that many producers sell products that are differentiated from one another and hence are not perfect substitutes. That's a monopolistic competition. Now, monopoly, right? I'll just type that into Google. Okay. Monopoly in economics. Hold on. A pure monopoly is a single supplier in a market, right? So again, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's hard for you to listen or you're dense, but like these are just the definitions used. And you say you study philosophy, but you couldn't pull up again the difference between those definitions on the IEP or on the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. So I mean, like next time you shouldn't talk out of your ass. That's all I'm saying. But you guys can go back to your conversation.
Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, and join us in the Nameless Debates Discord. We hope to see you there.